my whole process is based around three main layers that are based around values, how light or how dark a colour is. So this is the typical sort of value strip that I work with, and this is light. And then we've got the middle value, which bridges everything and connects those together. This is the shadow value. Most important, all shadows are always this kind of value. This is where I get the depth and the strength in my work. And the black value, well, only small amounts of that, but it consolidates the painting, and I'll put black values inside shadow value. Yeah, good question. So I like to work with big blocks of colour like this. So get these broad brush strokes in. If there are highlights and they're only small, then I might end up having to, cut round tight shapes and be. So if it's small, I'll use gouache. But if it's a big shape and it's quite easy to paint around it, then I'll paint around it and leave the white of the paper. Okay. I'll do a lot of that with a snow scene. I'll leave a lot of white. But the flow, I mean, what's happening here is just beautiful. These things are happening, and you can't replicate that in anything else. Well, I mean, personally, I think it's a really important part of watercolor painting, because it dries flat, and if you're working with just a flat color, then things are going to look flat. You can't ever get away from that flatness. So yeah, I constantly mix paint, and yeah, I'm holding it there. There's just a regular length of brush. I've not shortened anything, but I hold it right at the back. And so when I'm painting, I'm standing up, and I've got the brush like this, and I'm using the shoulder. When you use the shoulder, you've got a lot of weight in the arm, which is controlling the brush, but there's lots of movements. You've got shoulder movement, you've got elbow movement, wrist movement, and then finger and thumb movement. So it's a really sort of dynamic on the brush. And it's it's a great sort of way of painting expressively. So this is really thick paint here. Look, this is like almost like warm butter, if you want to go down that route. French ultramarine, Windsor lemon, and burnt sienna. That's the combination that I'm using here. The moisture level up, and that helps them to blend together. Cerulean blue. This is where it gets a little bit abstract, because there are so many shapes here, and I'm just blending them together. Another little technique there. Look, so quite often what I do when I got light against dark and I want to make it soft, these mop brushes are great for putting color on, but they're also great for taking color off. So I've loaded this with some of the bright green, and I literally just replace the color from the wall. Cerulean blue, semi-opaque color, beautiful to add into a shadow to raise the reflected light. In there so that you can see what's happening with the shapes. And again, these values are so close together. So, and because they're wet into wet or damp into damp, they have a slight soft edge to them, and then they're not commanding too much attention.
Yeah.
So this is how I sort of view things with the watercolor, is things that are soft edged will hint at objects rather than state. And I think, you know, part of the battle of painting watercolor and that enjoyment of it is to try and break up edges as much as possible. So I've been using some drag edges, I've got soft edges, and I've got some hard edges. Sketch this in. So this is relevant because these are perspective lines. It's all pushing the eye this way. So this is why I'm placing this in.